Good morning, YouTube. Facebook groups. Great place to get information, right?
Is it? Is that
Oh,
where you
yeah.
get your stuff?
Unbiased news coming out of Facebook where, you get all the best facts, right?
I mean, it's cool because you find like-minded communities with information that can be very specific to what you're into.
April
Right?
Rose.
I hope there's not a Facebook group for me.
Do you have one? Yes, I get to see all the comments. I agree with them. I'm the only one who gets to experience it firsthand, though. It's very nice. I'm just sorry. Just me. But, anywho, I asked a Facebook group, not yours.
Okay.
And this one is called Life at a Car Dealership. And it's only for people who work in the car business. And since I have a dealer's license, worked in the car business for, when did I start? 2005, opening CarMax.
So do you have to send them your
20
dealer's
years.
license to be accepted into the group?
No, but they do regularly kick out people when they actually aren't working for, they join the group and they realize they don't work for the business because they're asking stupid questions or whatever, they'll kick people out. But it's sort of a club for people to complain about how miserable it is to be in the car business. That's how terrible it is, how they're making less money because the commissions are getting tighter, or the service department, making it harder to make money because the cars are terrible. Just basically a place to gripe.
Right.
So I thought I would give a platform, a conversation starter for those to gripe about, and we'll hide their names just in case somebody, you look them up and the salesman, talks about how terrible his car is that they're selling and gets in trouble. So Jake will blur all of this out. But I did ask them, I said, new car salesman, is there a model in your lineup that you are embarrassed, ashamed to sell? / ashamed to sell. Thinking the Dodge Hornet, which is a natural one because it's such a terrible, slow-selling vehicle. We talk about one of the slow-selling vehicles. And a few Jeep, Kia, Hyundai products. But just about every brand has one model that makes no sense in comparison to other models, whether it be in price difference or quality.
Right. Well, I think that's a great question, actually. It's like even going to a restaurant and you order something, the waitress is like,
right.
I don't know about that.
Which a lot of them never do that.
Exactly.
But if they were honest, and that's why I put this in the group, just to see. And what's funny is I thought there'd be a lot of Kia, Hyundai people would chime in and say this is junk. Multiple Kia, Hyundai people commented how amazing and incredible their lineup is without a single stinker in it. And I know both brands, especially Hyundai, have come a long way over the last decade or so, but still.
No.
Whatever.
Are they being paid undercover?
No, it's just funny to see, a lot of people will drink the Kool-Aid of whatever brand they're at, and they just honestly believe they're selling the best things, like God's gift to the buying public
it's a
with their
pyramid
cars.
scam company.
Right. But there's plenty of people that are realistic. So a lot of multiple comments, and this is on a shared platform of the BZ4X from Toyota.
Okay.
And the Subaru Solterra, which, like the Toyota Supra and the Subaru, whatever the heck it's called, I don't know, the same platform. So it's a new EV sort of to go after the Model Y, but it doesn't even come close. Basically, they are impossible to sell. Every time somebody comes in and looks at it, the salesmen are just embarrassed to show it because it's not even competitive at all. So base price $45,000.
That's not bad.
With the lowest range 222 miles on the Subaru. And then on the Toyota BZ4X, terrible name, $43,000 base price, 222 miles.
What's BZ4? Like, is that R2D2? Like, we're going Star Wars here or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
But everybody's buying the Tesla Model Y. That's what they're going after. The Model Y is cheaper, and their base range is 260. Or you can get a long range for the same price as both of those cars and get 100 more miles of range for the same price as a base
This is totally worth
BZ4X and a Solterra.
Right.
So these salesmen are just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Which I went through that a lot when I was working at a Chevrolet Cadillac store. Like, we had stinkers.
What were your stinkers?
The Chevy Uplander was still around in 2007. It was the minivan. It was the up chunker, basically. People would come and look at it and shop it against a Toyota Sienna or a Honda Odyssey, and it was
nothing.
It was junk. It looked like something that could have been from the early mid-90s, and this is 2007.
So what was your sale? Like, did you try to push it, or did you just let it lay flat?
I never sold a single one.
Right.
The other one was the Chevy Aveo.
Okay.
And I did sell a few of those because they were cheap. They were really cheap, but they were so junky.
Did you feel bad?
I felt bad.
Did you really?
I was embarrassed to sell. Like, it was just so terrible, so cheap and crappy feeling.
Right.
The hatchback version, there's just so many better choices for the money, but a lot of people, they were sort of credit challenged, and a lot of them were coming from the military base just down the road. And we were literally the closest new car dealership from the military base. You just drive a few miles up, or the bus or walk or whatever. They just walk up. I'm a soldier, so I'm gonna buy American. Just walk to the Chevy store. What can we get? And here's your Aveo.
And you can't talk crap about it.
No, but I scream in my head, why are you doing this? Don't do this, don't do this. But yeah, I was a sleazy car salesman. So that's back in 2007. So obviously very different now. So another person at Porsche says the first generation Taycans.
Oh, do you agree?
I don't know anything about it, but apparently they're pretty buggy. And then there's the Ford Focus, Escape, Fiestas. These are people in the service department with that transmission issues. Obviously, anytime they're selling one of those used ones, they know that they're screwing over the customer. But Nissan, we're going back to sales, and they're talking about the Rogue Sport, which was recently discontinued. But anytime somebody would come in and look at a Rogue Sport, they had much better cars for the same, like the normal Rogue. Like they didn't understand why the Rogue Sport existed, and compared to other Japanese small SUVs, like nobody was buying them. There was no way to sell this thing and say that the Rogue Sport is better. It was dated, it was ugly, it was underpowered, it wasn't that efficient, and the new Rogue had been redesigned and was so much better that they would just sell a Rogue if somebody was buying Nissan, or they would just leave and buy a Honda or Toyota. One person in Europe says, I work for Renault and Dacia in the Netherlands. All of the Renault models are great, but then there's the Dacia Spring, which I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know what that
It is an electric car. I'll show you a picture. I know that James May back in the day would go, oh, the Dacia Sandero, and do updates on it as a total junk car, as a joke. But there's the new Dacia Spring, which is apparently embarrassing for him to sell.
Right. It's a very generic looking car.
It doesn't look that bad. But now we go back to Ford, and this person says it's the Ford Edge, which is the complete waste of a model.
Because there's so many of them out there.
It's basically the same size as an Escape. Comes with the same effing motor. And the only way to get a bigger motor is to buy the most expensive version of it, being the ST. So the Edge sucks. Basically, why would somebody pay more for a Ford Edge when the Escape has the same motor and better?
Do we know why?
No, he's just saying he's embarrassed. Like, he can't explain to people, why would I buy the Edge over the Escape?
Right.
Because it's basically the same thing. So base price on a Ford Edge, $38,000. Base price on a Ford Escape is $29,000.
Quite a bit less.
Right. For the same motor.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
I get it.
But Ford has a lot of SUV crossover things. You have the Bronco Sport, which I guess is more SUV, but it's a confusing lineup. That is for sure. Is there anything you've ever been embarrassed to sell? Not just cars.
Well, I mean, I haven't really sold anything except for myself, I guess.
Yeah,
well, that sounds like I'm a prostitute now.
No,
sorry.
I mean, like product placements of things, like when you were working for different people. Not that this is the most professional thing to say, but surely there was like something where they're like, here, plug this.
Recently there was this like non-nicotine pouch tobacco that they asked me to promote on, my social platform, and I'm like, there's no way. And they were launching it in Chicago, and they wanted me to post it, on my platform because I'm from Chicago and very known mostly in Chicago, and I couldn't do something like that and push that. But to what you're saying, I would have to say, I don't know if any of these came close to, let's say, the Superbird. Right? Where dealers couldn't sell them. They had to take this nose cone off and the wing off because they looked so wild and crazy. And now they're super valuable, which is not going to happen to any of these.
No.
The Ford Edge is not going to raise up in value anytime soon.
No.
What's the most embarrassing thing you've had to hawk?
No, I've been asked to sell ED products, and I've turned that down. Dysfunction products. Yes.
Why did you turn it down?
Because I didn't feel comfortable plugging that.
That just sounds wrong.
Right.
And right at the same time.
Yeah.
You didn't feel comfortable plugging it.
No,
Maybe you need it then.
There's no issues, certainly as of recent as well.
Poor Jake. Sorry,
anyway,
Jake.
back to cars. So one person says from GM, the GMC Terrain and Buick Enclave. He says shit's design. I'm just gonna bleep that out. Sorry, Jake. Has been the same since 2018. And another person in GM talks about the Encore, which is another one that's been around for a long time. And he says the Invista is out. It's newer and it's way cheaper, better looking, and a newer model. And so it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would anybody buy this old, weird-looking Encore when the Invista is there and it's so much better?
Right.
So that's from GM. And now to Mopar. The Grand Wagoneer.
Right.
One person says, how can somebody sell a Grand Wagoneer for $120,000?
It's a lot.
And it breaks in 5 minutes.
It's a lot. And it has issues.
It is junk there in the service department all the time for quirks and issues and problems and all that stuff.
Right.
And any salesman knows what they're going to sell problems to people, but they sell them anyway, and they're over $100,000. So yeah, definitely a no-win scenario there.
They do look really, really cool. And but do they sell them with the wood paneling on them? You have to get a kit?
No, you have to put the stickers on, which a few people have.
Right. Like the Tesla, the Cybertruck. Someone did that. Have you seen? Did you see it, Jake?
Yes.
It's
the
so
Squire
good.
Cybertruck. It does look very cool.
So good.
Yeah, but not only the Grand Wagoneers, another person says the Hornets, like I said, or anything 4XE, which is their plug-in hybrid, like the Wranglers. It's just a nightmare in the service department. They're just total junk, and they know it, but they're still selling it.
Right.
So.
How do you sleep at
Oh, I know.
Terrible.
Right? Audi, one person said the Audi e-tron GT for $120,000 new. And they're getting trade bids, like they know that the moment they drive off, they're like worth half. So these people are losing $60,000 the moment they drive off the lot. To basically buying them is insane. Leasing them, maybe they have some good lease deals sometimes. But anybody where they're selling an e-tron GT, they know that they're just burying that customer.
Right. Well, and I hear you guys talk about Maserati all the time and how much that value goes down. And I imagine the guys working and the girls working there are kind of uncomfortable, perhaps, selling a brand new one. Once you drive it off, the value is just tanked.
Exactly. So the last one is Honda at Honda. So and this one's sort of a surprise. This guy says the Accord is so behind other midsize sedans in features for the price point, it just drives me nuts. No all-wheel drive, no panel roof, no turbo or V6 option, no style wheel packages, and it tops out at over $40,000 for a start.
Wow, that's a lot, because that's a lot of times a starter car for someone.
It's always been for sedans, and that's why Americans have quit making sedans, because everybody says, go buy a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry.
Right.
Camry has been nicely upgraded, for sure, but I didn't realize the Accord was so long in the tooth. I guess I rented one last year, and it did feel a little dated.
Yeah.
But yeah, Honda Accord is behind.
What are you going to do?
So that is the list of cars that dealers are embarrassed to sell.
More importantly, Daytona Charger or Superbird? Where are you going?
Superbird.
Really?
Yeah, because all the graphics and the meet-me porn and all that stuff.
Oh, the horn. Okay,
yes.
I get it. You had one, so you'd get another one, or you'd go?
I would, absolutely, yes. Just not one that's been butchered.
I feel like if you were a car, you would be a Superbird.
You said that before.
Because you're American-made and...
A little goofy looking, yes. Thank you so much for watching.
They're highly desirable.
No, she said it on national television.
Very rare.
That is a goofy looking car that's sort of an ugly duckling that turned into a swan.
A beautiful swan. Look at this beautiful swan right now. You're a beautiful swan. And you're very rare.
Bye.